To get your PulpMX swag and follow them on Instagram at RoostMX for monthly sales. Pulp Nation saves 20%. So thanks to those guys for coming on board. RoostMX as well. Awesome guys. And coming up with Cooper Webb here. All right. Okay. Yeah, right away. MotorcycleIndustryJobs.com. Upload your resume for free. Communications manager for Suzuki. Full-time job in Brea, California. Imagine being a communications manager for Suzuki.
You got a big job.
What are you communicating?
Is it open?
It's open.
Right now.
Yeah, manage the production, inventory, and distribution of advertising and marketing materials for motorcycle and ATV business in the USA. MotorcycleIndustryJobs.com, your number one source for job employment opportunities in the industry, and it's the first and only job board built specifically for the industry. Upload your resume for free today. So please, Suzuki's looking. RoostMX.net, bringing you our next guest on the show. This guy had a terrific ride in Anaheim 2, terrific ride at Anaheim 1, defending Supercross champion, of course. He's Cooper Webb. What's up, Coop? How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming on. We were just arguing with DV. Not really arguing with DV, but discussing the Ferrandis Craig incident with David Villeman. So that's why we went a little bit late.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot to talk about.
Check that out. Yeah, I was going to say, I could imagine.
Did you, okay, well, we were talking about this earlier. Did you, Coop, make a pass using that Ferrandis line at any point during the day or night? Like, was that a legit line?
Yeah, it's a tough one, eh? No, I mean, I never made a pass there.
Right.
We were going some laps inside there in the main.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, yeah, there wasn't really anybody around.
Right,
okay, so
right.
you at least could go inside. The inside was usable, maybe not to make a pass, but you at least went there, here and there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I took that line, yeah, but
Yeah.
obviously not with someone there, no.
Yeah, we would have heard about that probably.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Hey, up and down season for you. I thought your Anaheim 1 ride was amazing, and this weekend was very good, too. You went after Roxon. But the second week, last week, still a little bit of illness, huh, in St. Louis for you?
Yeah, it was a tough few weeks. I mean, Anaheim, like you said, A1 went spectacularly well for the conditions and how I was feeling and stuff. But, I mean, yeah, basically, long story short, is Friday night, right before Anaheim 1, I just started feeling bad and then, didn't race Saturday and, obviously probably didn't help the situation. Kind of felt like I left it all out there on the track Saturday. And then when I actually had planned to go back to Florida before St. Louis, so I flew home, and Monday I went right in to see a doctor, and I had strep throat and also the flu. So it was just kind of one of those things. That week was, I mean, I was on the couch pretty much all week, and with all the, drug testing and stuff, we're pretty limited, honestly, kind of to what we can do to try to kick, those kind of bugs. So, yeah, I went into St. Louis. I mean, like, energy level was a bit better, but overall just, I think, not there. My head wasn't right, and, my body wasn't right, and I kind of struggled with the track a little bit regardless, and I felt like it was a track that everyone was pretty much the same speed, and you needed a start, and I had a terrible start, and so yeah, I mean, it was honestly a kind of worst case scenario for sure.
Yeah.
But it was good to kind of put it in the rear view, and honestly, kind of, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's like when you have a bad result like that, it can be a good motivator, and so like I said, hopefully get all, I feel like you have your one weekend or so where you have a sickness or you have an injury or whatever each year, and hopefully I got it out of the way early.
It was a really great ride. Closing in on Roxon at the end, how hard were you pushing for that?
Yeah, we were going for it. I think I was lacking a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Those guys really kind of got on it and broke away, and I felt like I kind of lost that toe, and then, actually Jason got around me, and but yeah, I mean, I was charging hard at the end. I kind of saw, that I was kind of making slow time on them, and then really kind of put my head down a little too late. I think ideally if I could have maybe got going a little bit sooner, but Yeah, I was stoked with it. I mean, to close down on the guys, was pretty encouraging. And, I think Eli was on another level all day, honestly. Like, with his speed, he was good. And I think, usually those kind of days where he's just on it, he wins by 20 seconds. So I was stoked to kind of close that gap.
It was the Wygant. We talked about this. Like, so Anderson was up front and looking great, and then he goes backwards, like back to 6. Coop gets up there. I thought, Coop, Zacho was going to start putting heat on you, and then you pulled away from him. AC went backwards. AC looked great. Then it was the weirdest battle for 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought 4 different guys had it at different points.
It changed.
It did. Much. It really did.
Yeah, I think that track was physically pretty demanding.
Yep.
And I was lacking a little bit of speed, and I think those guys had it early on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think with the 2 whoops, the Dragon, there wasn't really a straightaway. There was a lot going on that track. Even the rhythms they weren't easy rhythms that you're just scrubbing through. You had to time them all. So I think physically it was a hard track, and especially a hard track to not make mistakes on. So
yeah.
I think that's where it kind of at the beginning, those guys had a little bit more speed, but I kind of stayed to my lap time, throughout the whole main event.
Sure.
So it kind of worked out for me, but it was still a good main event for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw that you were skimming the whoops for a little bit, and then at the end of the moto, you guys. Well, not
he
you
skimmed
guys.
a rhythm section. Did you see that on
Dude,
Instagram?
Holy shit. That was actually fast. When he did that, I was like, oh, shit. And I go, dude, he actually caught up.
It was amazing, Coop.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
But
that was the oh shit moment.
You started jumping through the whoops later in the race. Did that prove just to be more consistent just because they were getting broken down?
Yeah, and I kind of saw the 250 guys were struggling heavily in the whoops, and I knew the first set, before the triple, I could get away with jumping and I wouldn't lose much time. But the big set, I knew early and it worked out that way. Earlier, if you could skim them, it was obviously faster. But I knew they were going to get so chewed, so I kind of just went to jumping early. That way, I knew what I was doing for 20 laps, and I felt like once everybody started jumping, I was already kind of ahead of the game.
Right.
But I struggled in that set honestly all day. That was where I was pretty slow. The first set I was pretty good in all day, but that second set I was struggling a little bit. So I kind of just committed to it, and especially after kind of seeing Jets crash and a bunch of guys just getting squirrely there, I was like, hey, this is going to be the most consistent. Obviously not the fastest, but it seemed to work out late in the main. But in the beginning, with Kenny and especially Eli blitzing them the way they were doing it, it was definitely faster at the beginning.
Those were man-sized whoops there, man. Holy smokes, there were some mistakes going on with a lot of guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, like I said, I think we, having back-to-back whoops, and they were both, the first set was just awkwardly kind of built. It had that big second whoop that was, kind of strange, and then, they were definitely some big ones, and, I mean, it's just crazy how much the 450s can deteriorate, a set of whoops, and so, from lap 1 to even halfway, the things were night and day different. So, that was kind of my game plan, was just to stick with what I knew.
Coop, this leads perfectly to what I've been wanting to ask for a long time. The 450s are doing so much damage to the whoops. It seems like you, and even last year Marv, we know he's really good at jumping whoops. We would see you guys maybe struggle in practice when the whoops were blitzers. But lo and behold, time and time again, when the money was on the line in the main, they would become jumping whoops. And a couple of my friends started to theorize, do these guys need to just give up on setting up the bike to skim? Because when it counts, jumping or dealing with cupped out, beat up whoops
or
is
track maintenance issues.
Track maintenance. Yep. It's almost always going to come down in crunch time to being the best when the whoops are bad. Have you ever gone to the point where you say, let's throw in the towel on blitzing fresh whoops? Where we really have to be good is that last 10 laps in the main when they are horrible. Have you started to almost just tilt in that direction? Because almost every week, this is the way it turns out anyway.
I mean, no. I know what you mean.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, you know, in practice is so valuable for a gate pick, and same with the heat that,
Okay.
you know, that's where I feel like I've made a step since last year.
Mhm.
You know, obviously I'm not up to the top guys in the whoop speed, but I feel like I'm that, you know, 5 to 10 speed, I guess, for the whoops. But like you said, I think just the difference in it really is, you know, when you have 2 sets of whoops like we did, plus a dragon, and especially big set. I mean, we did 24 laps,
Right.
double that. You know, that's how many times you're hitting the whoops in a main event, and I think it's physically on your body, and, you know, breathing and holding on. The whoops are the toughest part. So, you know, physically, it takes a lot of effort to just blitz a whoop section, you know, like a madman. And I think that's why in practice you'll see, you know, the guys really, for their fast laps, you almost, I wouldn't say get lucky, but you just grab a handful and kind of know that's going to play out for this lap. And then I think you saw, like in the main event, you know, the guys will get it right, but maybe every third or fourth lap they're having a moment in the whoops. So, I mean, obviously it's something that I need to learn and be better at and adapt. But like you said, I think with I think personally, like, the difference between, you know, these days and maybe even 5-6 years ago, which people don't realize, is when they go from laps to time main events and time heat races, we're adding 2 laps in a heat race between 4 heat races. You know, you're adding 1 to 2 laps and 2 LCQs, and then you're adding 4 to 5 laps in both main events. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add that all up, you know, you're looking at 20 to 30 extra laps on the track that used not to be there. So
do you ever ride? Do you ever just ask your team, or does the team ever go to you and be like, "Hey, you're gonna ride a fucked up track today. It's gonna be completely blown out. This is what we're riding."
I mean, honestly, I think that's one of the things we do really well in Florida.
You leave it.
Our track gets prepped Monday, and, you know, if something gets dangerous or sketchy, they'll fix it. But we ride that track all week. So, you know, I think that's where actually right now I like you said before, like, I kind of set my bike up and everything so much for the main events that, to me, that's why I've actually been struggling a little bit in practice. So that's stuff we've been working on, is to actually get, you know, some compliancy when the track really isn't hammered. So, you know, it's obviously great you want it to work in the main event, you know, really nice, but you also need to have it working well for the rest of the day too.
You talk about the qualifying laps. I happened to watch Marty's in the second session, Marty's fast lap coupe, and you want to talk about loose through the whoops? I mean, good for Marty. He got the pole, or like he got the fast time. Like, that's awesome. Good God, was he going for it? You know what I mean? And like, again, he can't do that again. You know, so but good for Marty. Hey, Phil was in studio a couple weeks ago. He was here in Vegas.
Oh God.
That's when we tried to get you on, but your voice was shot. He was awesome. He had a lot of things to say about Supercross. You would think, Coop, that Phil was a 2-time Supercross champion, the expert that he is on the indoor stuff.
Oh, with his advice, you would think he's the greatest rider to ever throw a leg over a motorcycle.
He just talks so confidently. I always had to laugh. I was like, listen to this guy. We were busting his balls. We're like, Phil, just because you won the Canadian Supercross title with 3 rounds, you know, like, it doesn't mean.
Oh, don't worry. I get a text every Saturday on what I'm doing wrong.
Okay. Great. Good to know. He brought your other buddy in here. I forget his name now, but I bought him dinner. Good guy. What's?
Oh yeah. My buddy from North Carolina, Matt.
Yeah, good guy. He was in here as well. So, fun times with Phil. We got a call from Ratcliffe for you. Ratcliffe, what's up? You're on with Cooper Webb, the defending Monster Energy Supercross champion. What's your question for him?
Awesome. Hey, Cooper, congratulations on a nice, consistent start to the season, aside from the one time you were sick. had a quick question about, I know you always thank your mechanic, Carlos, and I know he was Ryan Dungy's mechanic as well. You want to expand on how he helps you daily or at the races and how valuable he is to your program?
Yeah. No, Carlos is, I mean, I've had a bunch of great mechanics, but he's been a huge asset for me when I came here. Just experience alone, goes such a long way, and especially with the way the class is now. But he's just so smart and such attention to detail, and the guy knows a lot, and especially with the mental side of things and just kind of, when and how he approaches things and what to say and when to say it. He was one of the guys that really kind of helped me with my starts. So he brings a lot to the table, and especially on race day, just with me, I think when I especially came to the team for the first time, I had the skill, but, I think the maturity level and also the experience wasn't quite what I was needing. And I think he was a guy that really, I kind of liked it. He came right away and said, there ain't going to be any bullshit. You're not going to, act like you used to act. You're going to change your ways, and you can either listen to me or not, but I'm going to tell you the truth every time. And I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. So for me, that works awesome. And I feel like we have a really good relationship, and I was very lucky to be with him on the team.
Coop,
thanks, Ratcliffe. Thank you, by the way. Thanks.
Coop, I was going to ask, after last year, you would always pull it out in the main event. It was always where you put in your best work. So we had this whole narrative for months over, you never know with Coop, man. No matter how bad the day's going, the dude pulls it together.
Yep.
And then Anaheim 1 was like next level pulling it together. You're sick. What were you, like 15th in practice or something?
Yeah.
And then you still get a damn podium. Did finally not pulling it together at round 2, was that almost a little wake-up call like, hey, I can't just rely on this to magically pull together every week? Did you almost need a little bit of that?
No, for sure. I mean, honestly, it was like I kind of touched on earlier, like it sucks, but it was a really big eye-opener. And, obviously I think now that I'm healthy, you take for granted a lot on your health, on how bad I was actually feeling. But at the same time, that's what you're dealt sometimes. And it's I think for me, it was one of those things where I kind of felt like, hey, I have it under control. Like, qualifying wasn't great at Anaheim. It obviously wasn't great at St. Louis. Don't worry, guys. I'll pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it's like, no, you need to figure this shit out and, go faster or be more competitive and get going. So I think it was good. It's good to kind of get your ass kicked every once in a while and look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, it's time to be better, and it's time to step up and work on the things you're doing wrong. And I think, especially with the number 1 plate, it's like, hey, don't worry, guys, I got it. I was able to do it last year, and things evolved. This year is a lot more gnarly, and everyone's better than they were last year, so I need to, do the same. So, like you said, obviously I think it's a good quality that I'm going to keep and not get flustered by, if I am having a bad day, but it's something I'm working on to be in the fight all day, because I think that'll excel me even more in the main event.
We talked about your bike in the main event and what you feel and how you want the bike to feel. Has your bike changed from last year? Have you done anything different this year compared to last year?
We tried a lot to I wouldn't say a lot. We tried a few things to try to help me out in the whoops. And basically we're back to what I raced with last year. So, you gotta, our bike's so good that, we're always trying to make progress. And, we fine-tuned some things since last year, obviously, but kind of went back to base and worked from there and made some progress even today, even, just kind of fine-tuning and getting it to where I can, at this level, everyone's so close and so fast. So any little progress you can make is huge.
No no teammate for you this year, obviously with Marv's injury. We kind of thought they'd fill in. We thought they'd put somebody there. They didn't. How's that been for you? I mean, you got even Frankie's probably standing over there trying to help you out. You got all these guys. What's that been like for you? Do you like it? Is it weird, or how is that?
Oh, I mean, it sucks. Obviously, Marv got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a huge asset to the team, and he's obviously a great rider and a championship caliber guy. So, sucks not having him for sure. It is weird. I've never not had a teammate. So it was a little strange. You definitely have kind of all the eyes on you and everyone's watching you, but there's pros and cons. I mean, it's nice to kind of have a teammate to bounce ideas off of, and especially a guy like Marv who, is such a great rider and does a lot of cool stuff throughout the day that you can kind of pick up on. But as well as settings, when you have kind of two guys, if something works, you can kind of bounce it off each other. But at the same time, it's been good to have, I guess, the full attention and everybody be on board and trying to help you. So like you said, it's a little different, but so far it's been pretty good.
I went to when I was at Yamaha, Red Dog hurt, Villeman hurt, and Chad was the only guy that year. 04, whenever him and Ricky went 1, 2, 3 the last whatever rounds it was. And we're all standing around. It's one guy, the truck's super quiet. Chad's in his motorhome, and we're just all do. Like we're like, it was weird for sure. Like to have the one guy underneath the truck, but
it's like you said, it's a lot of, when you look at the big picture, it's a lot of effort and a lot of personnel being there for just me. So I mean, it is. At the end of the day, it's like, it's cool to have that support, but sucks that it had to happen through injury.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you listen to all this shit or what you read into this stuff, but like, I feel these two guys sitting here in the studio, we did these RacerX preview shows.
Damn it.
They didn't have your back, bro.
Damn it.
Okay? I feel like you were under the radar. You have a number one on your bike.
I'm on my 6th straight year predicting Eli Tomac. I'm sorry.
I picked Anderson to repeat last year, and I blew that too.
And go, what about Coop? He killed it last year, won a shit ton of races, got a number 1 plate, and you're just still not really quite there for 2020. I don't get it. But here I am sitting there, Orange Brigade live, just pushing Coop.
You are. You have been. You've been pushing Coop.
You actually were on it even going into last year.
Yep.
Yeah. Seth Rick was telling me, he's like, dude, last year, Kiefer called it.
Yep.
You did.
Called it.
Yeah, he really did. And I'm just I got nothing. I got no comeback for that. I'm Eli Tomac every single year. Thanks, Eli. Thanks for that.
That's why they're the experts, man.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, us and Phil, we're experts.
Actually, I called Anderson to repeat last year, and that blew up in my face. So I'm like, I'm taking a different strategy. I'm not going with the champion anymore.
Right.
And I don't know if that's going to work either.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Who knows? Hey, Coop, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, man. And good rides, the 2 of the 3 rounds, man. Absolutely, especially being sick. That Anaheim 1 ride, that's all time there for sure. And a lot of us are like, oh shit, look at Coop, we forgot. And so thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of the year, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right.
Have a good show.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Appreciate it. That's Cooper Webb, everybody. Red Bull KTM defending champion, brought to you by RoostMX.net.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Why to throw that out there? I was just thinking about it.
I just hope and pray that you guys never listen to this stuff or watch this stuff, man. Here's my problem, man. I have to learn my lesson on this. Cooper has such a reverse way of doing these things. We have insider info, and you hear things like Cooper doesn't light it up in November at the test track. He's never a flying at the test track guy. And if you don't know any of this, you wouldn't read into it. But you'll hear, I heard he's not going so fast. I just need to realize with Cooper Webb, none of that matters.
Yeah,
none of it matters.
No, he's a gamer.
And he's the type of guy.
He's a gamer.
He's the type of guy that's, like you said, he can get 12th.
Yes.
And then come back and fucking win the next week.
Well,
and I need to realize that just because in November you're hearing people like, oh man, I don't know if he's flying at the test track. It doesn't matter with him.
No,
with other guys, it matters.
Because you know what, he's won his whole life. Everything else, you're on Adam Cianciarulo's payroll. So what do you know?
That's why.
Yeah, that's why. We got some questions here. Zach, you want to talk to Chris Kiefer about some gearing or something? Zach?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Kiefer? What's going on, Mathis?